So how do we bridge the gap between the high knee triangle and the low knee triangle? Most of my students always ask me, Mike, you love both of these styles of triangle, but when do I do it? When do I choose high knee versus low knee? And why am I doing it? So the big thing that I think distinguishes the two is how the person you're attacking responds directly when they get stuck in the trap triangle. So when he throws me into the triangle, right here, if my first reaction is to stack, I'm trying to do a couple things. I'm trying to scoot this way a little bit. I'm trying to crunch him forward to make it hard for him to lock, but I'm also trying to use my shoulder, once his knee is towards his chest, to lever sideways to open the lock and remove my arm. So if Nico is trying to accomplish that on me, one of the best tools that I have here, say I'm here like this, and he decides that he wants to do that. He wants to come across this way. I have to make sure that this knee doesn't get to my chin. I also have to make sure this arm isn't able to come across this direction. So when he's here, one of the things I can do is, instead of letting my knees come to my chest like this, is I can just lift my hips up like this. So I might be in the middle of this trying to run away from him. If I lift my hip and I drive it towards the shoulder, when he tries to bring this arm across, it's going to be very, very difficult. Now, at the same time, if he were stacking me a little bit, don't put a lot of pressure yet, don't. If he's pressing my knee to my chest and I decide that I want to come down here underneath for a low knee triangle, I'm lining my knee up with his shoulder, which is then connected to his legs and his toes, which is where all of his power comes from. So the second that my legs disconnect and I cut this angle, as he drives forward, my knee goes flying across my center line and I lose the structure of the lock. So when I choose to go high knee or low knee, it all depends on what he is trying to do right off the bat. Now, if he's stacking, I just told you, if he's stacking, I don't want to disconnect and let him drive into the lever to my hip, my knee. Instead, I want to run away from him a little bit and lock prior to letting my hip fall. So now when I let my hip fall, he can put his arm across my center line all he wants. He's still going to get strangled. Now instead, if I get to the trap triangle, I need you to move back just a little bit. If I get to the trap triangle and he's already disconnected from my center, he's postured up really well, like that, this is going to be really, really rough. So right when I get to the trap triangle, if I can hold one hand on his head, and as he goes to posture, I have no worry, because you can't posture and stack at the same time. They're mutually exclusive. So when he's lifting his head up, he's actually helping me spin underneath to lock into that low knee triangle. So, as a kind of Spark Notes version of what I think you guys should be trying to accomplish, if your partner's immediate reaction is to posture out of the triangle, I think that low knee triangle is probably a better variation. And if immediately they're trying to stack in the triangle, use the details that I'm going to discuss further in the instructional to use that high knee triangle to make sure that you guys can get to the lock, make your adjustments, and keep the person from stacking and ruining your triangle.